The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
With so many people living longer, the fear of outliving your money becomes a reality for many of us. Will I be a financial burden? Will I outlive my money? How will I be remembered? My name is Neil Himmelstein, president of Main Street Planning Group. Please contact me by visiting mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. I will introduce you to strategies that will guarantee you will not outlive your money, that can guarantee you will not be a burden on your loved ones. Through a collaborative approach, we will uncover solutions that offer tax-efficient strategies, lifetime income, and legacy planning, choice, organization, direction, and education. That is the code we stand behind. Contact mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. And listen to me every Friday at 3 p.m. as I host the Main Street Code for Financial Success, right here on 103.9 LI News Radio. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. When we talk about our code, we talk about choice, organization, direction, and education. And we work with hundreds of advisors across the United States in the areas of insurance, fixed annuities, disability, long-term care coverage. I work with CPAs, attorneys, other financial advisors. We're an important element of your success. We've been talking about the last couple of weeks, this massive inflation that's going on. And with the massive inflation and the war in Ukraine, and if you have any Ukrainian relatives, even not, my heart goes out to you with what's going on out there. It's very tough to look at this on TV every day, as is all wars, but today everything's more digital than ever. But inflation and the price of oil and everything is looking to continue, at least for the short term and long term. And what that brings is volatility in the market. So we expect there to be more volatility in the market. And if you're sitting, and for the first time in years, we have interest rates over 3% guaranteed to protect your retirement, in fixed annuities. Guaranteed incomes for life. You should really be looking at your portfolios if you're near or at retirement and really taking some of that money off the table and protecting it. And that's what we do with that, and life insurance and long-term care. So it's a very vital time, and there is hope out there, but you need to keep up with inflation and not keep it sitting in a bank at 0% when you can make much more on a guaranteed basis than zero. So with that in mind, today we have a very special guest, Mr. Phil Kanyuk from SATI. Phil, would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, good afternoon. Phil Kanyuk, Forensic Accountant and CPA.
So Phil is a past president of Nassau County Society of CPAs. He is a specialist of CPAs, and his specialty is forensic accounting. Can you, so within CPAs, there are many different specialties. People don't realize this within accountants. And Phil specializes in one particular, can you tell everybody what a forensic CPA does?
Sure. A forensic accountant analyzes financial data and presents it in a way that can be interpreted by a courtroom or a trier of fact, or more importantly, attorneys and other trusted advisors who can intervene and proactively analyze my findings and settle a matter before it goes into the courtroom.
Right. No, it's amazing. So why is that important, what we do? And I kind of want to just bear this in mind. So a lot of times when you have a business and you want to know the value, you need to know the value. Maybe you're looking to sell a business, or maybe you're looking to buy a business. Would I reach out to somebody like you, Phil, that would evaluate, the business, the debt, the this and that, or partnership agreements? How does that work?
A good deal of my clients come to me for a buyout or buy-in advice, whether they're looking to buy out their senior partner or be bought out by their senior partner, or bring in an employee and give that employee a piece of the equity to bring forward the business and have a proper exit strategy for the owners as they're getting to their retirement age. It's best when they start thinking about this 10 years or so before they're ready to exit, as opposed to on their 67th birthday.
So I think it's important to understand that. So when we're evaluating how to purchase a business, this and that, sometimes there's a shortfall, or there's an area that, quite frankly, we need some sort of insurance to protect a person when they're buying or selling a business for that shortfall. Can you kind of explain that, where we fit in?
Oftentimes, I'm contacted by a trusted advisor to do the valuation for a small, closely held business in order to quantify an amount for the buy-sell agreement and potentially insurance to cross-insure the owners, so that if something happens, there is a ability for the business to continue, buy out the deceased partner's share, and then continue on business without having a working capital shortfall.
Right. So when you're valuing a business, I think, and also estates, we'll get into that. But when you're evaluating a business and you're looking to buy a business, you need to know the assets, you need to know liabilities, and you need to know some of the stuff that you may not know on the surface.
Tax returns are a good starting point to identify those items, but oftentimes the tax return isn't the most accurate document. Believe it or not, some businesses don't report all of their earnings and put through expenses that the IRS may not be willing to accept. Those adjustments are critical in developing the right cash flow for this business and determining that business's value. And also a strong look at the balance sheet. This morning, I'll be looking to give advice to a very small business owner who wants to be bought out of his 50% interest of a company that grosses about $3 million. This entity has $1.2 million cash on their balance sheet, on the books, and they have maintained over $1 million in working capital cash alone for the past 3 years. That's in addition to, that's non-operating asset cash. That's extra value, and it needs to be put off to the side, the business valued, and then the cash, excess cash added back. And those types of assets or liabilities must be considered in doing the valuation, or the results will be in error.
Right. So it's very important, and you find that this becomes such a strong area. It's good to know what you're getting into. And also, I know Phil has gotten involved in a lot of situations where an estate has to be settled and property and or cash has to be divided, and or there's a big tax. Or how does that work with forensic accounting?
Well, on the business valuation side, the estates are required by the IRS to document the value, and formal USPAP compliant reports will be prepared in order to quantify and support the business valuation.
Right. So it's quite a tricky area, but it gives you that extra advantage on what you need to know to make proper decisions. And I think that's the value of what Phil brings to the table. And Phil works with a firm called Sadi. Tell me a little bit about Sadi.
Sadi is a typical full-service accounting firm located on the border of Nassau and Suffolk County. We provide accounting services from write-up work through audits, and we also do the tax work for those clients. So you have a full-service accounting firm with tax and accounting professionals. My niche is neither of those. While I work in the area, I'm not preparing tax returns and doing audited financial statements. But it's nice to be within an organization that has the talent to provide guidance and advice on accounting issues as they more sophisticated issues as they come up.
So it's a one-stop shop for accounting, and they just recently added Phil as that extra piece over and above all the other services they provide. And what a valuable piece it is to the accounting firm and their clients to have that availability. You know, when you are out there looking, and I talk about this on many, many shows, we're your quarterback. We're going to help you, guide you, get you to the right people when you have a question, when you have a situation. Feel free to call Main Street Planning Group. You can always reach me at 631-647-4694. And how can they reach you, Phil?
My direct dial is 516-408-6610.
And you're listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success, and we're going to be back right after a commercial break. Thank you. Welcome back. What a beautiful day here on Long Island. I'm thrilled to have with me today Phil Kanyuk from SADI. Phil is an expert in Forensic CPA, past president of Nassau County Society of CPAs. Phil, how can they get a hold of you?
They can call me at my CPA firm, SADI Partners, and SADI's my direct dial at SADI is 516-408-6610.
Today, we are talking about, if you didn't hear before the commercial, the importance of having somebody like Phil on your team to help you evaluate your business, or if you're looking to buy into a business, and the importance of evaluating that business and knowing what you're getting and knowing what you're paying for. You know, it's very scary to go out and spend a lot of money for a business, or even if you're trying to sell a business and get the value out of it, the proper value. And that's when you come to somebody like Phil and tell me how your services add to that knowledge base.
Oftentimes, I'm approached by a mature business who is proactively looking to set a value and manage expectations of the partnership group, the owners, and all those that are impacted by this valuation. For instance, two individuals who are both married, if they do not have a good buy-sell in place, neither side may have a realistic value in mind. And if someone passes, the surviving partner may be dealing with the deceased spouse as a future partner that doesn't have an appreciation for what the business is worth.
And which brings me to something that we talked about in the past, and I'd like to bring, what is a buy-sell agreement is really an agreement, and I'll go into that a little bit, where when you're setting up your business, even when you're just starting your business, one of these agreements is typically, we hope, put in place. Because if you don't have an agreement in place, a buy-sell, very basic buy-sell agreement, and you're entering into a business, and this is very frequent, you start a business with a friend of yours, and things start going great, and it's doing well, and all of a sudden that business gets bigger, and this and that, and you're never really looking at the what-ifs. And the what-if is, what if that partner passes away? Is this spouse, his business interest goes to, let's say, his spouse or his family. And they may know nothing about your business. They may not be in your business, but all of a sudden they become your partner. So what happens in that situation is you have a partner that your business could fail. So typically we set up a contract set up by a CPA or an attorney that will set up a contract called a buy-sell agreement. And that buy-sell agreement should be funded with life insurance in case that partner passes, and disability insurance in case that business partner becomes physically disabled. And quite often, we find that people get to the point where, okay, they make an agreement, but then they don't fund it. They don't buy the proper insurance to take care of it. and or the business grows and they don't realize the value of that business. And that's when Phil comes in after the fact, and all of a sudden the business is worth a lot more and lawsuits happen. So if you proactively plan and have somebody like Phil who can go through the forensic accounting, isn't that a better...
Oh, absolutely. I've been doing this business for about 30 years now, and I've reviewed the books and records of hundreds of companies. About 10% of the companies I look at have a good buy-sell agreement in place and take the extra step to update it on a routine basis so that the understanding and the dollar amount of the buy-sell is current and relevant, as opposed to...
So in other words, 90% don't.
That is correct. It's an astounding
90%.
number. Right.
So 90% of you fail to plan properly.
That tends to be my observation, yes.
Yeah, and this is critical. I mean, we talk about all the time about reviewing your plans, reviewing your insurance on a regular basis. Is it the right amount? Is the insurance company still in business? Are they going in? Are they going out? I mean, these are things that I review on a regular basis, but you can see from Phil's perspective and my perspective how things change and how they have to evolve and why you need to integrate various people to make your plan successful. And what I like to say is, and I know many, many successful people, and people at retirement, they do the best thing they can all the time, but over years, things change, and their plans may or may not have plans. For instance, I've seen situations, and I see it, I don't want to say 90% of the time, but I see it a lot of the times where people will buy insurance and then it will expire. Or they'll buy life insurance and they'll put it in their drawer and then they have children or they get divorced and they never change the beneficiaries and the insurance goes to people other than they had expected it to. Or they have a business and one of the partners dies, or they have a buy-sell and it's not funded correctly and Phil gets involved. But the main thing is to reach out to us at Main Street Planning Group and let us help guide you through the process and make sure not only that your insurance is up to date, but you have a good buy-sell plan, but also that you have a good valuation of what you have, both in your business and in your estate. So, Phil, you work with a lot of attorneys and financial planners, and tell me what else that you see that's good, that a recent situation that possibly you're involved in that where it went wrong.
Oftentimes, it goes wrong when there isn't the right amount of planning or oversight. Today's agenda for me after this interview is to speak to a 65-year-old gentleman who's been in business with his brother for almost 40 years. He has no idea what the business is worth, and nor does his brother. They're coming to me to help them quantify what a 50% interest or 100% interest in the business is. It may work out to not just the senior brother looking to retire, but it may work out that they're looking to sell the entire business. So that could be a potential transaction down the road that's not even being contemplated today. Understanding the line of business that these people are in and where the economy is going, I see nothing but a positive growth for this company and a fantastic next 5-year projection period.
So that's another thing that we didn't talk about is you can actually, based on data, and I know that I attended a seminar you did last year that was talking about how it affected businesses, COVID, how COVID affected businesses and how valuations had to change during COVID, during buying and selling of businesses based on the current economic data.
Absolutely. As many people saw, the world shut down in second quarter of 2020. That turned the business valuation appraisal world upside down for a very short period of time. Inflation is a significant factor. Revenues and revenue growth or decline is a significant factor. In interest rates are also a factor, and rates of return in the market are things that need to be considered. But when the market's going down, there's a negative return in the market.
Right.
That shouldn't have a negative impact to your business valuation.
And Phil can be reached one more time. Phil, how can people reach you?
I can be reached at SADI. 516-408-6610 is my direct dial.
Right, and you've been listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. You can always reach me on my website at mainstreetplanninggroup.com or reach out to me at 631-647-4694. It is an absolutely gorgeous day here on Long Island. If you have any questions whatsoever or you'd like me to cover another area, please reach out to me at 631-647-4694. Have a terrific day, everybody.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.